Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Allie. So today we're going to be going over the differences between the Good Girl Gone Bads. I have two of them with me today. I have the original Good Girl Gone Bad by Kilian, and I have Good Girl Gone Bad Extreme by Kilian as well. And we're going to be going over what it is that makes these two different. Are they similar? Are they worth picking up? What do I see that's different about each one? We're going to be getting into that today. That way you can make your own decision on which good girl is the one for you, depending on if that's something that you were interested in picking, or if you're like me and had a hard time deciding which one you wanted to pick up first. This guide will hopefully help you make that decision for yourself. That way you can pick up your first Good Girl Gone Bad fragrance. We're going to start off with the first one, the OG, the original, the Good Girl Gone Bad. You have notes of jasmine, osmanthus, May Rose, narcissus, amber, and cedar. This is absolutely beautiful. I sprayed it on the back of this hand and on this little piece of paper. I don't know why I sprayed it on everything. This one opens up very green, and it's going to be a kind of sharp greenness for some people if you're not familiar with green fragrances. It smells like you broke the stem of a flower and you're smelling the greenness coming off of that stem, that green sort of smelly feeling that you get when you break a stem from a flower. It smells like that right when you spray it, and it's pretty strong, it's pretty intense. It does die down after a few seconds. And then you start getting all these beautiful florals that start to appear. You get this clean sort of vibe from the jasmine in this. You get a lot of the Indian tuberose. You get some of that May Rose and a big heaping dose of osmanthus, which adds this sort of fruity vibe to the fragrance. There are no real fruits to this fragrance, but the addition of osmanthus and it being such a heavy note in this makes the fragrance smell like apricots or peaches. It's a really fruity smelling. It's quite yummy. It's really beautiful. So it smells like a fruity floral fragrance, which is what I would classify Good Girl Gone Bad as, a very beautiful, natural, fruity floral fragrance. There is that cedar in the base as well, and it's a very light cedar. It's not in your face, it's not overbearing. The cedar just adds a sort of complexity, and the amber in this adds a little bit more depth to the fragrance. So it's not your standard sort of fruity floral fragrance. It's a fruity floral fragrance, but with some depth to it. It's quite beautiful. It's a very unique, it's a very statement making fragrance. You will definitely get noticed if you're wearing Good Girl Gone Bad by Kilian. It's bold, it's beautiful. I have said it before, this is my ultimate floral fragrance. In my collection, it's my go-to floral. I love this one. It is so beautiful. It's effervescent, it's clean. It has this sort of like kind of out of the shower vibe, but it doesn't smell soapy or anything in any way. It's very much heavy on the florals. You have to be a fan of florals in order to enjoy this one. You have to be a fan of sort of slightly green fragrances because this has this greenness to it as well. As you get deep into the dry down, you lose the greenness, but it does linger on for quite a bit. So that is one thing to note with this fragrance in particular. There is this greenness that stays with the fragrance that adds this sort of natural effect to it, if I'm being honest, because I really do enjoy it. That's probably one of my favorite things about this fragrance is the unexpected greenness to it, going alongside the florals, and then that heaping dose of osmanthus, which makes it sort of fruity, yummy, and just delicious in general. Very unique, very interesting, a gorgeous pick from the House of Kilian for those of you that are interested in trying this one out. But now, how does this one differ from Good Girl Gone Bad Extreme? Are they the same? Stumbling again on my words. Are they the same? Are they different? Is the Extreme just a stronger version? Is it different enough to pick up? We're going to get into it. So, the Extreme. I got this one about a week or so ago, and I've had some time to play with it. I sprayed it on the back of my hand, as well as this piece of paper. So this one has the notes of jasmine, osmanthus, May Rose as well, tuberose, narcissus. It has an addition of a milk note. It has amber, and the cedar in this isn't just your typical cedar. They've changed it to a white cedar extract. So in my opinion, the white cedar extract is a little bit less prominent than the cedar in the original, and the addition of the milk note makes it a much more creamy version of the original. You definitely still hold true to the Good Girl Gone Bad DNA in this, so if you're a fan of the original DNA, you do not lose it in the extreme version. They both last about the same amount of time. I get about 7 hours on the skin with Good Girl Gone Bad before it becomes more of a skin scent. And it's the same with this one. It's about 7 hours on the skin before it becomes a skin scent. This does linger longer on clothes. Same with Good Girl Gone Bad. I can smell it on clothes up until the next day. But yeah, this one is a much more creamy version of the original. It still has that sharpness, not sharpness, it still has that very floral, heady effect that the original has because it's chock full of florals. It has the same florals, and it has that heaping dose of osmanthus, so you don't lose that sort of apricot-y, peachy vibe that the original has. But what I love about it is that this milk note sort of gives it like a peaches and cream sort of vibe with a heaping dose of florals. So my fans out there of like the smell of peaches and cream, this one might be more suited towards you because the original is just a floral, fruity fragrance, and this is a floral, fruity, creamy one as well. And then the lightening of the cedar base just adds not as much of the same complexity as the original. It's still a complex fragrance, don't get me wrong. But the cedar base is a lot more light in my opinion. There is like a lighter cedary base to this compared to the original one, which I could pick up the cedar base a little bit more. It's a lot lighter in this one. And it's more prominent with a milky note. You still get that amber, adding a little bit of depth to the fragrance. It's still really beautiful. And it's just so, so good. I love the addition of the milky note in the extreme version. Are they both the same? I would say they're very similar. Would most people be able to tell a difference between both? Honestly, I don't think so. I think for a lot of people, especially if you don't have a more trained nose to pick out and discern certain notes, I feel like you would buy the extreme and be very disappointed that it's either not a more amped up, potent version of the original, or that it doesn't smell like a completely different fragrance. It holds very true to the original DNA, like I said. If you're looking for something that was gonna be different, this isn't gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is so different. It's gonna be different enough. But would I say you need both in your collection? Probably not. If you're collecting fragrances and you are just a fan of the Good Girl Gone Bad DNA, then it's definitely a really nice addition. I feel like Good Girl Gone Bad is a really good like daytime fragrance, and this would be the nighttime counterpart because of the milkiness that this one has. Would I say they're super like different? Not really. Are they so different that like I could justify most people owning both? Probably not. It's just gonna be what you prefer. Do you prefer more greenness in your fragrance? Then I would say go with the Good Girl Gone Bad. Do you want to cut down on the greenness and amp up a creaminess to it? Then I would say go with the Good Girl Gone Bad Extreme. And those are mostly what I picked out as far as the discerning differences between the two. It's just gonna be a matter of preference. You are gonna get the same fragrance, but you are gonna tone down and tone up certain aspects of it. With Good Girl Gone Bad, heavy on the greenness. The greenness on this is toned up, where this one is toned down. If you want some creaminess, you go with the extreme because this one doesn't have that creaminess that the extreme has. And the creaminess in this is like amped up a bit more. Are they both relatively the same? I would think so. To my nose, they are the same fragrance, just amped up in an amped down version in certain aspects. But they are both beautiful. I'm glad I have both in my collection. I use both of them quite frequently. I am still a huge fan of the original Good Girl Gone Bad Extreme. It is still my ultimate fragrance. As much as I love The extreme version, the original version, is still my bae. I still love her so much. There's just something about her that I cannot quit. And yeah, you guys, those are my thoughts on the two. I might be picking up the Eau Fresh. I'm not sure if I'm going to pick it up or not, or just buy a little decant of it, because I'm not sure if it's going to be different enough that it's going to be worth justifying having it in my collection. If it's just the same fragrance that's just more slightly aquatic. But we will see. Everything changes with me. I'll say like I don't want to buy it, and then like 5 minutes later I'm online buying it. So Lord knows what's going to happen. Only time will tell. But till next time, you guys, I hope this video found you well. If you ever want to see this face again, like and subscribe to my channel. And yeah, I will catch you guys later. Till next time, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will catch you next week. Bye.